The Mother of Christ has always held a special place in the heart of the Church. She is the mother of all Christians. This painting, Our Lady of the Southern Cross, was commissioned by Cardinal George Pell. Hundreds of thousands of pilgrims came here to pray at the cathedral, entrusting their lives to Mary's motherly care. The artist is Paul Newton.
The ideas that the Cardinal presented me with in the first instance were fairly open. It wasn't at all restrictive, but just that it needed to focus on the Southern Cross, of course, being the title of the painting, Our Lady of the Southern Cross, and that it should involve other elements, other symbolic elements of Australia. Because I didn't need to depict a specific individual, I ended up using, and felt very free to use, a number of different subjects to help produce the characters that I was painting. So I used a young girl whose face, to a large extent, features in the painting. And my wife and my daughter were also helped out. It's my daughter's hands and my wife's figure. And where one begins and the next one ends isn't cut and dry. So it's really an amalgam of a number of different reference sources in that sense. In each of the corners of the frame you can see there's a motif which is representative of the Waratah, which is the New South Wales floral emblem. So Mary's wearing the wattle wreath, symbolic of Australia. The background down below, you can see an Australian, generic Australian landscape to suggest the barrenness of our land, but at the same time the water in a kind of a low meandering river, the water being symbolic traditionally of the Holy Spirit. And I suppose most importantly, the symbolism of the Southern Cross up in the right-hand corner, which suggests the title, Our Lady of the Southern Cross. And the other stars in the sky that I've painted in around the rest of the sky are in fact the stars that you would see in the southern sky. So the two stars at the top left are the pointers, for example. Where Mary is standing is the southernmost point of the southern sky. If I'd have had the Southern Cross on our left, it wouldn't have coincided with the southern pole. So it was really just a happy accident. As well as Mary presenting Jesus to us, holding him intimately to her, almost cheek to cheek, with the intimacy and the love that a young mother would have for her newborn baby. But in addition to that, I've depicted Mary looking not at us, but at him, at Jesus, at Christ, which is really an example to us. And he is looking at us. So she's presenting him to us, he's making eye contact with us, and hopefully with a sense of a look of not only the innocence of a child, but the wisdom of ages, as he would have being the divine child. By Mary looking at him and not at us, I wanted to create a sense of humility that she was exhibiting, so that she's all about him, as you know, should be the case, of course. And so he's the one that we're looking at while she's holding him and presenting him to us. And as well as humility, I wanted to create a sense of serenity. So there's a real, when people are here praying, using the painting as a kind of a vehicle, if you like, to help them in their prayer, I wanted to create a mood of serenity. And I think that hopefully is enforced or reinforced by that very broad, still, quiet landscape behind. And of course the night sky, which helps to produce that kind of mood. I wanted to create the sense that it was a real little baby, not some abstract form of humanity that doesn't relate to us as another human being, which of course he was and which we need to be often reminded of. And the other thing I wanted to depict in the painting of the baby is his left hand is raised, and it's sort of suggestive of the way in many depictions of the Madonna and Child, Jesus' hand is raised in blessing. It's not actually doing that here, but it's just a suggestion of that, and also partly a suggestion of the animation of the baby. I was very aware when I was putting the painting together of the spiritual component and the use to which the painting was being put, not only a permanent fixture in St Mary's Cathedral, but also a focal point for World Youth Day. So I was particularly aware of that, and in my own prayer life I was seeking inspiration to try and get it right. The most wonderful experience was when the Pope came and blessed the painting, and I was fortunate enough to be able to be here present, right here where we're standing today, with Cardinal Pell and Bishop Fisher, and the Pope arrived with his entourage, and I was able to bring my wife and kids and my parents along, so it was a wonderful privilege, a wonderful experience. And my impression of him was that he was such a warm, friendly, holy man. And when he came over, when he walked in, we were all assembled ready to greet him. He came and greeted us individually, one at a time, in no apparent rush. You know, it was really a very warm, wonderful experience. And then he then blessed the painting, which was wonderful.